Most of y'all have heard my Spider-Man coverage, and some of you probably have not. I get it. It's cool. But anyway, on the Patreon, we will be doing another breakdown of this historic film for the genuine public, so they can have their entertainment and all of their notice and status quos. Yeah, you know. But anyway, let's get to why we're here today. We're here today to cover a situation about an individual called Gilbert Arenas in the show called Gils Arena. Gils Arena is a show that was on Underdog Fantasy platform, which ended up torpedoing and going downhill. And now it's being bailed out by Playmaker. I've just spent the past hour talking with Gilbert Arenas, who's still talking right now. He's still feeling himself. Um, yes, it's still failing, sir. It has failed to the point where it's gotten embarrassing. And now Mr. Arenas is out here still campaigning for the program, and I'm pretty much confused as to why. It's very shocking to me. And I think that the way the program is structured, not because I'm rooting for the failure of this individual, it's just that I don't see the value in the show. And normally, when you don't see value, it's mainly because there probably isn't any value there. So like right now, when I said Gils Arena, it's like nothing, no motion, no nothing. It's like no motion because he doesn't move a needle. So therefore, it's like no real need to even mention him. But I wanted to go over the show and the optics. So Gilbert Arenas was, as you all know, indicted on federal charges for illegal gambling and all of these things here. And, they kind of frown upon things like that in the industry, especially when you're having a sponsorship by somebody who's talking about betting and gambling. That's kind of like not good for business. You wouldn't want to be associated with somebody doing something like that. So if you know that and you're looking at the situation all together, then you're going to be saying to yourself, what am I doing this for? All right, it doesn't make any difference in the real play of things, in the real walk of things. Because the thing is this, Playmaker is already making money. They don't need Gils Arena. Not at all. What they did was buy the false reality that this show is profitable and that they can help this show grow in the right direction that would be beneficial to all parties involved. Naturally, you would want that, right? You would say, hey, that sounds great. That sounds like something I'm interested in. But let's take a look at the scope of it, because that's why we're here. Well, I want everyone to have a very clear picture as to what's going on. And now he'll be watching from the sidelines. Now, if he was going to add something to the program, then yeah, by all means. But when you don't add anything to the program, that's what you do. You get erased. Now, let's go to why this situation is what it is. Mr. Arenas has a problem with being consistent with information. And because he's not consistent with information, you have things that are not usually correct. For instance, Mr. Arenas was called out by the former person that was on the show, Rashad McCants, he's been on a promo run bashing a man that doesn't really go on social media and say anything about him. So all of this podcast shows, all this abuse he's been taking from these content creators, he's been using to disrespect this man. Gil Arenas came out to defend himself to the actual post that Rashad McCants actually put on the screen. And he says in there, he said, you can tell Rashad you're sorry too. And he said, they did right, huh? You see, Rashad is looking at the receipts that Gil sent to someone at Underdog about a guy named Liam who he went publicly talking about that ruined the show. And Gilbert is saying, tell Liam I'm sorry. I don't want everybody to lose their job over my bad decisions. I'll push Underdog like before because they did right by me. Can't lie. So, after all this big talking he's been doing on all these podcast shows, Rashad McCants just bring out the receipts to expose Gil's inconsistency in his statements. So now, here he is trying to defend himself.
Wasn't collabing on posters anymore. I wasn't wearing the product anymore. So I said, I'll wear it. I'll do the tap and dance for you to keep your job. And everybody else in the studio. Because if I left, quit, or got fired, remember, you got to get the house. And then all the rules that I have inside my contract kicks in. Meaning Gils Arena shut down. Now you got to create another. You see, I was conforming for you. This tells everybody the fact that you will post this that has nothing to do with you, which was for you, lets all of us know how you did pick a side and you chose them over us. This was about us having 5 days because we wasn't happy with 2 and they wanted to fire. You're gonna need some milk. That was easy. Yo.
So he said that was easy. And notice he stopped when he said they was gonna fire, and he stopped. But he said it earlier.
Push Underdog more.
He told the truth earlier, and he stopped himself there. Shout out to Big Ant.
Fire me and Joe at the beginning of the season.
There we go.
You tell Liam I'm sorry. See, they was trying to fire me and Joe at the beginning of this. You tell Liam I'm sorry. See, they was trying to fire me and Joe at the beginning. You tell Liam I'm sorry. See, they was trying to fire me and Joe at the beginning.
They tried to fire me and Joe at the beginning. You see that? You hear that, right? They tried to fire me and Joe at the beginning. See, Gil tells so many stories and lies, he forget what he says. So they tried to fire you and Josiah at the beginning of the season. Woo! He comes out and tells you right there. So he said, I was fighting for you. No, you were fighting for you, Josiah, and everybody else, because you just said you were fighting because they were going to fire you and Joe. It just came out your own mouth.
Liam, I'm sorry. See, they was trying to fire me and Joe at the beginning of the season.
See, they were trying to fire me and Joe at the beginning of the season. Remember that, people. Remember that. They were trying to fire this man at the beginning of the season.
You tell Liam I'm sorry. I don't want anyone, meaning you boy, to lose your job. So
yes, you didn't want anyone to lose their job, but he leaves out the key part. Over my bad decisions,
I'll conform.
Look, I tell Liam I'm sorry. I don't want everyone to lose their job over my bad decisions. I'll push underdog like before because they did do right by me. I can't lie. Oh, you can't lie. And you did lie. But you lied on everybody's podcast that you went on. Oh, you lied. Boy, you told a big fathead lie, didn't you? Now, Gil, you are welcome to come up here and explain all of this. Explain how Rashad McCants, a guy who built this show, the guy who's probably one of the most popular people on the show, who was dominating you on your own platform. You did everything you could to sabotage Rashad McCants and anyone else who was outshining you. Now, you know not to play with Kenya Martin. If Gil was the talent, he wouldn't have to go get talent. That's why he says, oh, wait till I go bring in there. If Gil pull his ass up in here, we know what time it is. We'll let him come up and we'll let him explain himself. He has free reign to come on up. Now, this is why I said this might be a mistake. Because I don't think Gil understands the plight. It does not do you well to tear down Rashad McCants, who built your show up. Because now, what did you sell Playmaker? You sold Playmaker a show that was built up on Kenyon Martin and Rashad McCants. Not you and Josiah. Okay, you and Josiah and Nick, Nick is cool for a couple of segments, but he ain't somebody, he just be getting drunk. 90% of the time is him getting drunk. Now, he cool. I like Swaggy P. Everybody likes Swaggy. You don't know anybody that got a problem with Swaggy. You don't really see that, rarely. And if you do got a problem with Swaggy, it's about him not taking something serious. That'll be it. Other than that, nobody has ever had any problems with Swaggy P. The only person that they have a problem with is Gil and his superiority complex. He's got to be the main figure. It's got to be about him. He's the star. And if he's not shining, then it isn't working. Now, they just had a disastrous, and I mean a disastrous. Swaggy P is funny. Yeah, he is. He'll say a couple of funny lines because, he's a laid back, cool dude. But he can't carry a show. You can't have Swaggy P carrying the damn show. Come on now. What are we doing? If that's like saying, hey, I want to buy this team that got Kobe, Shaq, Michael Jordan on it. And I'm like, man, I want to buy that team. That team finna take off. As soon as I buy the team, Kobe gone, Shaq gone, Jordan gone. And I just got Gil Arenas on the team and Josiah. Do I feel like I got my products that I paid for? Do I feel like I got what I paid for? Or did I get gypped? If you buy a car and you got all of the stuff, it's got computer in there and everything else, and you get the car now, once you buy it, for the price you did, you get a demo version. That's what they got. That's what the hell they got. He said, I think he's doing this because McCants don't want to work with him no more. I don't think it's like McCants don't want to work with him no more. I think he can't handle the fact that McCants is bigger than him on his own show. If you've ever watched any episode, they would have segments where Rashad McCants would dominate and win the debate. And they're supposed to, dedicate certain time slots to a, time period to a topic, and they move on, right? They'll spend like 30 minutes, 40 minutes a piece on this segment, and you say what you say, then you move on. That's the moderator's job. That's Josiah's job. Okay, we covered this, at least 40 minutes on this. Everybody got to speak. Now we got to move to the next topic. Every time they get to a situation where Gil feel like he lost the argument, he wants Josiah to keep it there. And he'll go right back into it and don't want to let the subject go because he's got to have the last word to make it assume like he won. And it's like, dude, why are we still on this? We covered this. Let's move forward. But you can't with somebody who don't see it that way. They never do. This man just recently, about 10 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago, in his own chat, told the whole world Kenyon Martin wasn't going to be on the show. He forgot he already didn't told me that. Now he's talking about who says Kenyon ain't going to be on there. You did. But you going to need one of those two or both of them in order to save your show. Now, this is going to get very interesting because this led to another conversation that we had, right? Because Gil, in his infinite wisdom, kept going further and further down the rabbit hole with this whole layout of Gil, right? So Gil has been going all on the attack, right? And he puts this out and says, "You just posted proof you was a snake. This text was me biting the bullet to save all y'all jobs. Me and Joe publicly showed anger towards the new schedule of having us only 2 days on our own channel. We were threatened to be terminated if we don't apologize. Remember, terminated if they don't apologize." You posted this not realizing this is me willing to stand down so everybody can keep feeding their families. I sacrificed 40% of my contract so you could stab me in the back. That was easy. Now, I'm wanting y'all to read all this for yourself. That is not me. That is Gilbert Arenas saying that he sacrificed 40% of his contract. You see what it says there? 40% of his contract. So this isn't me doing anything. This is them. Now, this man said he sacrificed 40% of his contract. Y'all heard him. Now, why would you need to pay back 40% of your contract to keep the show rolling? You could just leave. This man said he was the boss. Remember? I'm the boss. I'm Godzilla. He used to beat him so bad, he would go to No Chill channel just to explain himself. Of course, the brotherhood was fake. Of course, it was fake brotherhood. He was supposed to go on there and let Gil shine. It's called Gils Arena. I'm the one that's got a shot. But he won't do that. As you can see right there, it told you this man gave up 40% of his contract. See, he tells on himself 40% of his contract. So remember, he was doing 50-50. Remember this dude did a 50-50 deal? This man did a 50-50 contract. Then he turns around and gives up 40% of the contract. So let's do the math. If I got 50% and then somebody else who got the other 50% gives me 40%, how much percent do I got and how many percent do they have? So you tell me they got 90% and you got 10. So they got 90% and you got 10%. This is crazy work. This is crazy work. Like I said, you ain't got to believe me. The man has said it himself. So you ain't got to believe me. Believe him. I told him, I said, come on up. Come on down. You have been invited. He don't want to do it. That fear that exists within him won't allow him to do it. Just seeing me on the screen with him, it shake him up. So ducking and hiding and all this stuff, putting stuff in comments, that's what he wants to do. He gave up 40%. That's why they had that disastrous start. Their introduction to Playmaker was at Fanatic Fest, and it was a horrible display. Oh, Gil just said, I like whatever version you tell. Meaning that he don't want to come up here. Look, he just like, I like whatever version of it you tell. Well, we telling your version. Oh yeah, everybody know what they talking about. Right, because Rashad McCants came through and pretty much shut it all down. And I'm like, wow, Rashad for the win. He came with the receipts and he shut you up. That's all I really said. I was like, that's all I was talking about. Was like, hey, man, Rashad McCants came through. He showed the receipts. because that's what matters. When people come through and show the receipts, that's what we look at and say, okay, yeah, this person is doing X, Y, and Z because they showing the receipts. He didn't like it. He was like, him turning on me. And I was like, you said you was cool with Tim. So how would Rashad have these messages from Tim then? Why would he send these messages? You always blame someone else over social media. You're bashing Rashad's name, using him for a promo run. And he said, I fired Tim. And Tim became bestie. Him and Tim became besties. And the messages is from me fighting for the show. And I'm like, Tim was your boss. How can you fire Tim? In the messages, you're talking about, I'm going to apologize to them. Tim works for Underdog, so how could you fire him? It doesn't make any sense. And he's like, he picked the wrong side. He took it out on me and said I was selfish. Mm-hmm. Because he anti-LeBron. Well, they're gonna do whatever there it is. That Playmaker is a bunch of people over there that fancy LeBron anyway. Have anybody talked about pockets yet? Yeah, he's just a new troll. He just showed up here to troll. So I'm hating on somebody I said can come up here and speak, right? I'm hating on somebody who you probably haven't spoken to, but would speak to me. I like that. So I'll do you one better. Since you say I'm hating on the man, you know what I'm doing, sir? I'm reading what the man sent. In his own words. He got fired. He's going on another podcast and said Gilbert only saves himself. He's selfish. He knows so little. I said, you are selfish. Tim worked for me, nigga. Like he said, what was in the situation? He got embarrassed. He got fired. He pretended he only picked them because I left him for dead. If he wants problems, then we will hear everything that was ever said, and he will be embarrassed, and it would ruin his chances for another job. The staff didn't like Rashad. He was a bitch to them. All the texts of them texting me stories. How you think I got the picture of the bullseyes? The staff sent it to me and told me where to find it. But if you see me go live on him, it's over. You've been live. You've been doing shorts. You've been doing everything talking about them. I said he was outshining you and you couldn't take it. Had nothing to do with me, fam. We weren't competing. They tried to fire him every season. They didn't want him. He can outshine me all he wants. It was my show. So you do your thing, boss. I get paid either way. Well, one thing I do know, the moment that I left, they did exactly what they've been trying to do the whole time. I was like, they wanted you and Josiah fired. Now remember, go back to the beginning of this video. What did he say? What did he say? What did the man say? It's quite clear. He said in the beginning, they tried to fire me and Josiah at the beginning of the season. Now, I just tell this man what he actually said. I said they wanted to fire you and Josiah. What did he say now?
See, now I know you just talked. They wanted you and Josiah fired. The problem with firing me is exactly what happened here. When the relationship is over, Gils Arena becomes completely mine. The channel has to be negotiated right then and there. All production stopped. So if they tried that then, there's no show for Underdog. There's no Gridiron. There's no nothing. Just like now. Hence why when my contract ended, all production stopped. See, you know that if you actually read my contract, that if we split, I get full 100%, and the studio has to be negotiated and the channel has to be negotiated right then on the spot. Sir. So even though they threaten it, and just like I said, do it then. I'm not conforming. Do it then. Nah, I know you're paying Skip for 4 days, but he's not going to be on the basketball show. What you going to do? You see that?
Yeah, we saw that. And we saw you beg, I'm sorry. Tell Liam I'm sorry. I'll go back to wearing my underdog stuff, man. I'm sorry, Liam. We saw that. We read it. All this tough talking you're doing now, you wasn't tough in front of them white boys. You were apologizing for your bad decisions. Yours. You was trying to save your job. That's whose job he was trying to save.
And if they fired me at the beginning of the season, remember, Gridiron started already in September. See, these is from October. The text is from October after the low thing. So that means they would have had to shut down production. Everybody on the staff get fired. Did you not remember? If I leave, you can't use my staff. Do you forget that? So won't you actually use your brain? If Liam fired me, Gridiron stops, Skip Bayless, all of them, it's over. Gils Arena is over. All those employees are fired and they can't rehire none of them, just like they haven't rehired any of them, just like it had to end. So yes, even though he was trying to bluff me, it didn't work. That's why I never conformed. I just saved everybody's job because I wanted to fire everybody. Just like I said, hey, Skip saved y'all job because as much as I wanted to kick everybody out, Skip said, now hold on, let's just hang in there. Just let this thing play through. Sir, there's a reason there's only one winner. There's a reason Liam got fired. How come the boss got fired if he was the boss? Tim got fired even though he was the boss. No Chill Productions is one hell of a drug. Yes, I apologize. So he wouldn't do nothing stupid and everybody got fired. No, why would I jeopardize 30 people's job for me to see whose dick was bigger?
Now I ask the question, who did end up being bigger if I got the bag that he was negotiating and he got fired because he lost the bag to me? See, there's always an end game. October is October. Where's everyone today? Laugh now, cry later.
Yep. Laugh now, cry later. Now, as you can see, Underdog in the background gone, Fubo TV gone, Showtime Sports is gone, Playback is gone, Complex Sports is gone. Everywhere this man has gone, he has taken that company into the ground. He walks away with some money and they go into the ground. And everybody else is left scrambling and scraping. So now all of these people who claim they have a position, they have a voice. I've dropped the link to Gil. I said, come on up here. I let him play it in his own voice. As you can hear, that's him. I let it come out his own mouth. Now, everything he's just said is some absolute bullshit. Because if that's the case, then why are you giving up 40% so nobody gets fired? Why would you care? Right? You had your deal since January. You should say, everybody, get the hell out. And make it loud and clear. Get off my dick, nigga, and tell Playmaker come in. That what you should have did if you was the boss. If you was this man that you're saying. But it don't make any sense for the ass-kissing text saying, I'm sorry, Liam. But you said they were going to try to fire you and Josiah. But you said they was bluffing. Why would the bosses bluff like that with you? How could they fire you if you the boss? None of what you're saying is going to make sense. Because let's take a look here. Dun, 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 dun. I said, explain why you were begging and gave them back 40% of your contract. See, he got real quiet after that. How did he know about that? Because you said it. He said, because Nick, Shad, and all of them needed the money. Nick, Shad, and all of them needed the money. They took 40% of my contract, and I took the Playmaker deal from them. And that's why he got fired. He took $10, and I took $1,000 later. You don't need me to explain for you to say whatever you want. So I'm like 40% of the contract. So the money payout is going to be off. There's no back end deal for you. Oh my God, this is crazy work. I got to call low lights for this one. This is entertaining. Oh, he was pissed about that. I said, low lights, once again, finna correct you and tell you how stupid this is.
What? So 40% of the contract, so the money payout is gonna be off. No back end deal for you. Nigga, my contract is over. I was making $13 million last year. The nigga took 40% of that. My contract ended in July. Okay? He was negotiating a big 2-year deal with Playmaker. I stole that shit. So he stole 40% of my contract money. I stole a 2-year deal so big. the guy got fired. Now imagine if a guy was working for you, Carcino, and he just gave you back 40% of someone's contract. You will be ecstatic unless he lost a deal that was so big that he said, fuck that 40%. I lost this. How is that a great trade-off? You take 40%, he takes our 2-year deal. See, I know you want to laugh, but you're still missing the point. You take $40, I take $150. Who actually won? See, the end game is it's here. You played silly games in October, you lost your job July 1st. Did you not realize when I said July 1st, it's over? And July 1st came and they all got fired and I own everything now? There's a reason for that. Payow.
So in his own voice, he said giving up 40% was for what? What did you give up 40% for? You didn't need to give up the 40%. This man says he has the biggest deal at Playmaker. He's bigger than Shaquille O'Neal. He's bigger than everybody in the game. This guy. Why do we do this lying, people? Why do we feel this need to have to keep lying? Over and over and over again. Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. Yeah, well, when you start turning down these deals, you start seeing the way it's going, then you understand that these people are just out here scrambling. He said, I made $13 million and I gave them back 40% of that. That's like $5 million. And this is him saying he made 13, which means he made like probably less than 10. 13, okay, you made about 10. So you gave back 40% of that. So you basically gave back millions of dollars. You okay with giving back, but let's take his numbers, right? He got $5 million back. Then he got a 2-year non-guaranteed deal with Playmaker. Now, granted, my deal is the biggest deal at Playmaker. So your mouth say, right? I don't believe nothing this man says. If I made 13 million last year and I took the deal that got you fired, tell me what deal would you lose for you to fire your own sector? Yes, I lost about 5 million. Underdog Fantasy got out of the content business because your show made them lose the most money. They got out because I took the deal and made them start over. So they just got out the business. You aren't listening, sir. Ha, ha, ha. Wrong. They were going in this direction because there was no return on investment. So it wasn't worth it. So FanDuel TV, DraftKings, ESPN Bet, all these people are doing the same thing. Let me guess. It was all because of you. You see how this narcissistic behavior works? You see this, right? You seeing this live. Lies, lies, lies. Oh, man. This is what makes it beautiful. So he said they made a statement they were building a network, remember? So what happened that made them say, F it, we're done? They were negotiating with Playmaker for a 2-year deal. I said, did they negotiate your contract with Playmaker? Huh? Did they do that? Oh yeah, on the Patreon, we will be doing the Sino Spider-Man review. This movie gonna mess a lot of people up. Trust me, y'all ain't ready for that ending. Here we go.
Are you actually trying to understand or just make up your own narrative? If you want to make up your own narrative, if you can make up whatever you want, it doesn't change the actual fact. The actual facts are Underdog was trying to turn into a network. So they have the gambling side and then the network side. As long as you can prove that your network is even money, you can get big funding. So they was looking for funding from a company, which was Playmaker, for 2 years to prove to their investors that they're a great network. So they was negotiating with Playmakers. Playmakers asked them a question. The question is, how long is Gilbert under contract? And they said, well, Gilbert's contract is up this year. Well, I think they thought Playmakers wanted me gone because of the gambling troubles. But Playmakers was like, well, why are you asking for a 2-year deal from us if the star person that we're looking at is not going to be with you guys? So they're like, no, we're going to sign him. We're going to sign him back for 2 years. Yeah, everything is good. Well, Playmakers reached out to me directly and asked me, hey, your contract is up in a few years. What's going on? And I said, oh, I'm leaving. That nigga took 40% from me. And he didn't take it at the time. He's negotiating, changing my contract and all of that. So yeah, I'm out. And then I was like, well, were you going to sign? Well, I don't know yet. And then they said, hey, listen, since we do want your show, we don't care about Gridiron or whatever show they're pitching. We just want the main show, and we're willing to take those on. We will give you the money we will give them. Actually, we'll give you more because they are a betting company and we can't go to another betting company. We sign you. We can go to another betting company to fund you and fund the show. So I said, okay, well, tell me more. And then I was like, what's the deal? They told me the deal. I was like, wait, so I get 50% of that. And it was like, why would you want us to sign them and give them the money? So let's prime example. Let's say it was $10 million. They get 10, I get 10. But obviously they're going to try to recoup. So I probably wouldn't have gotten nothing out of it. I was like, why split with them when I can give it all to you directly and you become the boss and you do your own thing? So they made a deal to me that I couldn't refuse. So I said, hey, well, I don't want to give up no percentage, no one. So I stay 100%. We don't care about your percentage. We don't care about any of that. We can help you distribute it. And then we work the terms like that. So I signed in January. And I've said this before. I said, my only terms is you keep negotiating with them all the way until May. Because May, if we can last that long before they find out that I took this deal, they won't have a plan B. And if they don't have a plan B, they will be fired for losing this deal. And they said, say less. So they negotiated with them all the way until May. And then that's when I started showing up, stopped showing up. And then that's when I became a bitch. So the deal was between Underdog and Playmaker, and I stole that shit, nigga. And since you didn't want to read my contract, here's how the language worked in my contract since you didn't want to read it. If me and Underdog ever separate, I get 100% of my show. The channel, if there's no other show that I didn't create, all production stops and I get to negotiate the channel dollar per sub. So there's 1.2. I get to buy it for 1.2. No matter if they have other shows that I created. So for them to keep the channel, they would have had to create a new show that has nothing to do with me personally at the beginning of that season. Well, since they didn't do that, and Gridiron was mine, and Gils Arena was mine, changing the channel name to the Arena wasn't actually a thing. There was no Arena show. So July 1st, when my contract ended, they lost everything. Now, I had a special deal inside of my contract that says, hey, when we separate, the studio equipment that Gils Arena was shot from comes to me at a 35% discount than what you bought it for. Now, lucky for me, around January 1st, they bought all new equipment downstairs, meaning all that shit Kwame was talking about, that old equipment, I already hid that shit. And then the new equipment out here, when they left, it kicked in, I get the studio. So I got the studio that they just bought in January. Now, a loophole that they didn't realize I was in the deal. The studio that they just paid for over there. Remember, when we separate, I get that at a 35%. So that means all that new shit came to me. So even if they stayed a company, this was what had to happen. The Arena would have had to get a new channel and start from scratch. Gridiron would have had to get a new channel and start from scratch. The studio they was in, all the equipment, they would have had to get all brand new equipment. And then the real kicker would, all those people who was actually up for renegotiation, which was everyone, all of those guys would have been looking for upgrades off of their money, which then the company content downgraded because they're all starting new. So instead of starting brand new, they just said, fuck it. See, they didn't see all the things that was in the contract because we did the contract so long ago. And I had all these hidden things inside of it. So as of right now, I own everything. The studio they was laughing at, all those fucking props. Wait till the video comes out or I'm shooting inside of the studio, tell them to come get their shit. Boss.
Well, that's how he feels. And he says they won't exist in 6 months. Circle back in 6 months and they won't exist. Now, that's it in a nutshell, really, that he's trying to do. He's trying to prove a point. Whatever it is not making any sense for anybody that knows better. Absolutely. Is he saying too much? He always says too much. You think he gonna pay me a finder's fee? This man, they done took 40% of his money. He done lost $5 million, claiming that this is a flex. I lost $5 million, but I'm good. $5 million gone. But I'm good. You're not good. Because, see, this Playmaker deal is contingent on the show being what they thought it was going to be, based on the cast that thought they were paying for. Now you think you can remix, bring in Lexi goddamn Brown and everybody else and bring in some new people that they don't care about and say, hey, we're going to do the show and it's going to take off. Where are the mechanics? Where is Kenya Martin? You're going to definitely need Kenya. You are definitely going to need Kenya Martin. Mm-hmm. Well, they can spam all they want. They're spamming their own boss's words. See, this is the thing. They boss don't even talk to them, but he talks to me.
And like I said, the deal that I signed, or that was taken from them by me, hurt them really bad. That 6 months from now, sir, poof. Remember that. Poof.
So in 6 months, he says Underdog will be gone completely. How is that a flex? That's what I want to know. How is that a flex? Let's take a good look at that. That's the graveyard of Gil. All the companies that do business with him. Remember this Playmaker. He'll be asking to conduct business behind your back just like he's done every other time here, going behind others' backs just to sabotage. Ask Fubo TV about Gil. Ask Underdog about Gil. Ask Showtime Sports about Gil. Ask Playback TV about Gil. Ask Complex Sports about Gil. You don't have a good rapport record. Like if they want to call for recommendations, your recommendation list does not look good. If you keep laughing like, yeah, I got the bag, I'm the big boss, I'm the winner, I'm the show guy, and you're burning down every company in order to try to prove this point, you're proving our point. That you are a bad investment. All you are is pretty much a finesser. You finesse people out of money. We saw Tyrese Halliburton with that alcoholic LeBron James, and they did better at Fanatic Fest than y'all. Gils Arena podcast show at Phonetics Fest. That was unbelievable. Do you know no one talked about Gils Arena at Phonetics Fest? That was your introduction into Playmaker. Yes. Now they're going to all believe it's all because of them. Everybody likes to believe they're the miracle, they're the change, right? But all you have is inconsistency. Right, you can send your trolls, you can send all of them over here. That doesn't mean anything to anyone that's real. Real people don't fall for that. You can do all that nonsense you want. Why would they be trolling? Your boss obviously wants this out here, or he wouldn't have sent it. Don't you understand? If your boss did not want it to be, it wouldn't be. So while y'all out here trying to stop the video, he wants the video to go further. He wants it heard. Y'all trying to stop it from being heard. He wants it heard. So you're actually working against your boss's wishes. That's why I haven't been saying anything. I could care less. I'm just doing a video so it would be known. It would be heard. So their failure at Phonetics Fest was very key. I must say so myself. Oh, Gil sent the video. Y'all want to see the video he sent? Let's see it.
It's called the gangster. See, they should have known right here when I just randomly started making all the cast just sign. Norris Cole, Lexi, I just started making everyone sign this. They should have known something was up. How random they just make someone signs it. Because I knew it was over. It's called the gangster. See, they should have known right here when I just randomly started making all the cast just sign. Norris Cole, Lexi, I just started making everyone sign this. They should have known something was up. How random they just make someone signs it.
Now, as you can see, this man said I'd be sending stuff. I don't even have mechanics over here. Well, okay. We'll do all that later. Mm-hmm. He said, block my world. I'm not gonna block him for saying that Gilbert getting more money than me. That's a fact. Quit hating on and do better. So I'm hating on the man for saying what he's actually doing. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's it. That's all. Let's roll.